Good evening, folks. I want to talk tonight about how to build a calm brain because I think probably everyone, especially at the current moment, would really like a calm brain and to be able to have a calm brain no matter what's going on. And that is what I have done in rewiring my brain. And this applies, I think, right now equally to people who are rewiring their brains, are in recovery, and people who are not. So, and again, this is the how-to of how I've become a person who is not affected by the world events whatsoever, which is wonderful. Um, okay, so we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna make a video after this talking about why a calm brain is so powerful because so much of my recovery I spent just focusing on calm, on just training myself to be calm. Like I didn't really, that was all I did really to recover, was just train myself to be calm all the time in every circumstance, and that was what led to me recovering. And that's what led to me finding my passion, my purpose, my true self, you know, all of my inherent talents and skills. All of that came from just training myself to be calm. So next video will be about all of those amazing benefits, but this is the how-to. So first principle to being calm, and this one's so basic, it's just a discipline: living only and ever and exclusively in the present moment. That is the number one thing to do to build calm, because this is really the only thing, what I have learned through my recovery, is that the human brain is designed to live in the present moment. That's it. It's not designed to be able to handle more than one stream of input at once. And even when we're daydreaming, you know, if you're in recovery and you practice visualization, even if you're doing a past visualization of something from the past or the future, it's occurring in the present moment as one stream of consciousness going through you in one moment in time. You don't have multiple things happening in your mind at once from different, like you're not, you know, again, a different, I think most of us know what a split kind of fractured brain function looks like, as you're just trying to think of so many things at once that you can't really get a clear head at all because there's just too much happening at once, and that can lead to, you know, anxiety and just overall brain fog and confusion and just not being an effective human being, feeling really overwhelmed. So living in the present moment and only allowing one stream of one stream of information to come into your brain at a time is key for calm, because that's what I've discovered, is that's just how we're designed. It's how we're engineered, is just to handle what's happening right now. And I thought about, because this is one of my favorite things to do, is think about, okay, what would people in a tribal lifestyle, how would they be living? And when you're living in a world where you actually need to be present for your survival day to day, like you need to be aware of your surroundings, you need to be aware of, and you're always in a new landscape. Nomadic people are always moving, you know, pretty frequently moving to a new place, and so they have to get accustomed to a new new topography, like what's the landscape like, where do I find water here, where do I find food here, all of that changes, you know, how do I build shelter in this place. So there's this constant, and it's one of the most basic needs a human being has, is to adapt to something new. And we can only do that when we're living entirely in the present moment, and we're not carrying all these baggage and thoughts and associations and, you know, emotions from the past into the present. We cannot actually be present to learn and to adapt to what's happening in our lives, and to fully be present to receive what's happening in our lives if we're living anywhere but the present moment. Same goes for future. And that's really when we feel most alive as human beings, is when we're learning and growing and adapting to change and receiving what's actually in front of us. That's what makes us feel fed and nurtured and calm, and learning new things is incredibly basic to being human. All children love, I mean, human beings love to learn new things. It's one of our favorite things, and we thrive on adaptation, and all of that can only happen in the present moment. And that's where, again, a calm brain, it's just one thing at a time. He takes that in. So, yep, that's the first one. Okay, second one, focus only on what you want. And I'm going to explain exactly why. So if you're focusing again, you want good things for yourself, or else you wouldn't be watching this video. You want good things for yourself. So focus only on what you want, on something positive. And again, when I say what you want, I don't necessarily mean an exterior physical thing. What experience do you want to be having? Do you want to be having a positive, what emotion do you want to be experiencing? What state do you want to be experiencing? That's what I'm talking about by what you want. So focus on something constructive, something that is real or positive, versus something that you know is anxiety producing. And again, part of it is, this is where, I mean, for me, I've discovered that, you know, the human heart, this portal that we all are to source, like we all have infinite abundance that comes through us. It's a matter of listening in instead of listening out. So turning off the outside ears and starting to listen to your own heart. But a lot of times we need to find things that wake up our heart and that tap into that energetic exchange between us and God or source or whatever you want to call that. And that's anything positive, anything that gives you a sense of calm, of peace, of joy, of happiness, of love, of gratitude, of connection, anything along those lines. Laughter, silliness, play, all of those things are positive. And when you're in that state, you actually can, it's very easy to come up with solutions to problems that arise in your life. So focus only on what you want, because if you're focusing on something negative, you're going to have negative emotions. You know, it's in and out. If you put something negative in, you're going to get something negative out. So that's pretty easy to avoid, or to understand that it's important to avoid. The other thing, though, that's a little bit more subtle is sometimes, you know, don't focus on what you want sometimes and what you don't want sometimes, for two reasons. Your brain wants to help you. That's what it does. If you're in recovery, you'll know that the limbic system, your emotional center in particular, it's like a little child that wants to help. And so it listens to, you know, and other people, like Marissa Peer is a great person. She talks about this a lot in her videos, and I really like how she describes it. But, you know, your brain, it wants to help you. And the things it believes what you tell it, the images you tell it, the thoughts, the affirmations, and what you tell it with your actions, what you're focusing on, it's going to try to help you. So if you're telling your brain half the time, I want these positive things, I want to experience this, and then the other half the time, you're allowing yourself to ruminate, you're allowing yourself to go back and feel regret or guilt over the past or shame, or go forward and experience anxiety over the future, then your brain's going to be confused, because it's like, wait, do you want that or do you want that? And that creates a war within yourself. And contrary to what I've heard from other people, that is optional. We do not have to be at war with ourselves. That is an illusion. The idea that I've heard this idea many times, and it's always kind of triggered something in me that, like, that, no, that's not true. You can be at peace with yourself when you focus all of your attention and effort on being in, you know, on what you want. What do you want to be experiencing? What do you want to be creating? What do you want? Focus on that only. And then if you're really consistent, you're being, again, and this is another thing I heard recently, it was, you know, not everyone's meant to be a leader. Every single human being is meant to lead themselves. We are all leaders. If nothing else, then within ourselves. We all have to lead ourselves to the truth. No one else is going to do that for us. We all have to make our own choices and then get ourselves in line with the choices we've made if we want to live that peace. If we want peace, we have to lead ourselves to it. So when you make the choices align, and it's a practice, we can't, and most of us can't make a choice and then be perfect at it, but the practice of getting up and learning to reach a place where you're focusing only on what you want in every single moment, then your brain is getting consistent leadership of, this is what I choose, this is how I choose to execute it. And when you come across, you know, situations in life, and this is one thing, you know, talking to people about, you know, how do I reduce my anxiety around COVID? It's like, you need to make a choice of what your personal exact, like, this is what I'm comfortable with doing, and then abide by that within yourself, so that you're giving your brain a clear image of what you choose and what you're comfortable with and what you believe, and then you're acting it out. And it's that way with everything, though. You know, with jobs and children and you know, relationships, life's always giving us, you know, as if you're in recovery, if you're rewiring core beliefs or new ways of being, you make a choice about something and then you line up your actions. You need to lead yourself if you want to have calm. That's how that works. You make a choice and then you get every single moment, every choice, you know, that follows that in alignment with the choice you already made. Every time that option comes up, it's like, nope, I chose this already. We're going this way. And that leads to great peace and great calm within yourself, because you as a whole person, not just your prefrontal cortex, not just your higher thinking brain, but even your emotional brain, which and then will include your body and your physiology, are all on the same page. That's huge. So focus only on what you want. A concrete example of that too I wanted to include is turning on the television or consuming social media or anything like that is an equally valid option to turning on your favorite playlist, or watching some improv comedy, or watching a really inspiring movie. You can either choose to turn on the news, you can choose to go to social media, you could choose to consume something that you know is going to make you feel anxious, or you can choose to consume positivity. And ultimately, you know, in the state of the world, and this is always the case, it's just more obvious right now, the state of the individual human being determines the state of the world. So if you want to create peace in the world, create it within yourself, and then you can share it. Engaging in and caring about negativity, if it gets you riled up, is just contributing more anxiety and anger and frustration and confusion to the world. So understand that you have a very important role to play in creating a stable society. And that, again, that's true all the time. It's just more relevant to the current moment. Um, but yeah, just know that you are not morally obligated to keep up with what's going on. You're morally obligated, or you're obligated, in my opinion, to live your life in accord with your own values and contribute something positive to society. That's far more important than being up with what's going on, being current about what's going on. So just know that you can choose to turn on something that you know will make you anxious, or you can choose to tap into your heart space, tap into source, to be inspired, to be in joy, to be in love and gratitude, and then pour that into the world. You have a choice, and they're equally accessible. Okay, so yeah, so this is a bit more, well, actually this is for everyone right now too. Understand that it takes a lot of focus to create a calm brain, because regardless of where you start, again, if you're watching this video, the chances are you want more calm. So right now there's a bit of splinteredness somewhere in your life, and it's going to take a lot of focus over time to achieve a state of consistent, effortless calm. Know that that's normal and to be expected. You are retraining your brain how to function. I mean, for me, in my journey, I had the point at which, the baseline of how my brain was functioning from a place of it thought massive anxiety and panic. That was like its baseline. That was home base, was panic and anxiety for no reason at all. And I moved it from there to calm and groundedness all the time. And I think most people I talk to are not as bad as I was. They're somewhere here and still understand that, again, calm is just natural brain function, but it does take time to get your brain, if it's been used to being in a state of anxiety or some sort of emotional turmoil of some kind for a decent percentage of the hours of your day on a consistent basis for, months or years, it's going to take time to allow your brain to adapt to this new path of, I choose calm, I choose to focus on what's positive, I choose to focus on what is productive, I choose to be calm, I choose the calm. That's a choice you have to wake up and make every day. And then there's maintenance too, because again, life always has choices. There's always something going on, whether it's, the way things are right now, but there's always something going on in life, whether it's personal or global or whatnot, whatever the scale is. And so we always have that choice. So just know that it takes time. It's like training your body for a marathon, training your brain to be calm. It could take longer than that. It definitely took longer than that for me. It took me probably about a year and a half, probably about 2 years to get to a point where my brain it's calm pretty much all the time without much effort. So just know that, because a lot of times, and again, that's when the change is happening, is when you're in that flow state, you're in that focus, and you are, consuming that positivity. And sometimes the brain is still trying to run, something negative in the background, or some sort of adrenaline producing thing in the background. As long as you are staying focused and not focusing on that, the change is happening. Because again, I've talked about this before, the brain resists change because it thinks what's familiar is safe. So it's going to resist. Just know that it can take a lot of time to really achieve your goals. So reassure yourself that the change is happening. Again, just like, training for a marathon or getting in shape for an Ironman or a big event. You train and you let your body adapt. You train more, you let your body adapt. It's the same thing. You do the work, you let your brain adapt. Do the work, let your brain adapt. And over time, it will just reset. The set point will reset to calm. The other thing that has made a huge difference for me personally is just really making a habit to never think. Because I find, like, a lot of times, and it depends on the kind of person. Some people can think positive thoughts. That never worked for me. I just need to not think. And when I'm really in a calm state, it comes pretty natural, but it's taken a lot of effort. It's a consistent discipline to just choose not to think. And then a lot of times the natural thoughts will arise from my inner self around, like, constructive things. Like, most of the YouTube videos I've made are because I had some train of thought and I was like, I should make a video about that. So those are the kind of things I think about. But otherwise, I just train myself not to think. I'm not going to think about what happened this morning. I'm not going to think about what's going to happen later today. I'm not going to think about tomorrow or yesterday, or not going to think, period. I just really reached a point where I was like, I'm just never going to think again, because it's really relaxing. And for me personally, I think a lot of people, whether in recovery or not, when we're thinking a lot and we're using our brain, and there's just so much thought, it speeds the brain up, and you get racing thoughts, and you just get that kind of, it's just like, it accelerates and you get adrenaline going, and then you're filled with, adrenaline, and anxiety feelings are just uncomfortable. And choosing not to think is really helpful. One other thing that's been really helpful for this, though, because if you are in a state where your brain has been in massive overdrive for a while and there's just a lot of racing thoughts and anxiety and panic, your brain, just understand that part of that is your brain is just moving really, really, really fast, way faster than it needs to be. And it's like a hamster on a wheel that just got, it's like the treadmill got put to higher than it's supposed to when there's a hamster on it who can't get off. One of the things I did for a long period of time in my recovery was I would watch shows, like funny shows, almost all, not all day, but for hours every day, because I needed to give, my brain needed input because it was so used to the constant stimulation of its own adrenaline pumping constantly that I couldn't go from that to just nothing. My brain would just completely panic because there was nothing there. It would found calm very, very alarming for a period of time, which is hilarious. But know that that's okay. And it's okay if you need a lot of, again, this is a little bit more geared toward people who are in recovery. If you need a lot of stimulation, like if you need to be, watching shows or listening to music or really focusing on something that's kind of busy all the time, that's okay. What you're doing is you are replacing the negative chatter with something positive, and ultimately you're getting that hamster wheel hooked up to something that is positive and creates dose chemistry instead of that creates positive relaxation chemistry, and eventually you're kind of hooking it to this thing that's spinning out of control, and slowly it will slow down over time, and you won't, as your brain gets used to being in positive neurochemistry, it will be like, okay, I don't need so much stimulation. And that happens slowly. It's a slow kind of weaning. It's a slow process of slowing down. Like everything, it happens slowly and your brain adapts over time. But just know that it's okay, and that's very different from, mindlessly scrolling or consuming YouTube material when you know you're doing it to avoid working, or you're just kind of completely spaced out in a negative way. It's very different when you're using it to fill your mind with something positive. And I mean, audiobooks and podcasts and stuff are great for that too, but for me it happened to be certain shows, the Graham Norton show, and a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway? A lot of those too I watched, and I still do watch occasionally because they're really funny. But yeah, so just know that that's okay, and you're just replacing that negative chatter with something positive that calms your brain, so that, again, over time, now I find great pleasure in laying on the couch and just feeling the breeze wash over my skin. Like I don't really need much to be happy anymore, but it took a lot of time to get there, and that's okay. Just meet yourself where you're at and start there, and know that in time, yeah, there is one thing I want to say. In time, you'll get to where you don't need that anymore. One of the things that happened, again, problems only exist if you give attention to them. Period. When we give attention to the solution, and this is the belief that I'm going to talk about more in the next video, but I want to touch on it now. When we are calm, when we are grounded in our true self, when we're really tapped into that openness to source, you will not believe how many problems disappear because you're not paying attention to them anymore. And when you're in that state of calm, you're in touch with your true self, you can make clear choices, and your capacities increase, your ability to be productive increases, your ability to navigate difficult situations and difficult people increases, and you become the solution to your problems without even trying to be. You just are grounded and calm in yourself, and the solutions kind of come to you, and you now have the ability to carry them out. So just know that when you focus on calm, the solutions to all your perceived problems will come to you if the problem hasn't already evaporated by the time you get to a state of true calm. That's the magic of calm. So I'll talk more about that next time, but calm is everything. It really is a superpower. It really, really, really is. We are absolutely superheroes with incredible capacity to create goodness and enjoy life and be productive when we're just in a state of calm. So focus your energy on being calm and know that everything else will just take care of itself. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful, especially, again, current stuff going on. All my love to you, my friends, and I will see you soon. Have a great night.